Oh my God, dear
I'm a
Lord.
girl.
I
Okay,
am
thank
tired
you.
today. Oh, I apologize.
I will
Well,
take girl any day. Yes.
beautiful
Young
girl.
19-year-old.
There you go. Right? No, I don't want to be 19 again. Oh, no. My 30s were better. Anyway, that's for another story, another day, and another channel. So, welcome
The rated
everyone.
R one.
The rated R. I don't know. Anyway, I'd like to welcome our beautiful 4 guests we have today. I'm just going to have them introduce themselves. And why don't we start with Brittany? How are you, Brittany?
Oh,
We can't hear
I
you.
think it's muted.
Did you mute yourself?
Oh no.
We checked everything but the audio, right?
All
That's how
right.
it's gonna go.
Blake, go for it. Well, checking your video.
Okay, my name is Blake Smith. I am one of the co-founders and lead investigator for Everything Vaguely Paranormal. We are a group based out of Texas, and along with me are the two. Oh, it's that way. Sorry, those two over there. Also, we're co-founders with me, and so we're just excited to be here, and I'm excited to talk to y'all.
Thank you.
And my name is Shelly Pruitt. I'm one of the co-founders of Everything Vaguely Paranormal and the lead investigator. Probably the loudest chick you will have on your podcast ever. My apologies in advance. Love to go set and do that kind of thing. Always with a little bit of humor, and founded the group with these 2 guys over here, and added in our producer Brittany. And you should come in. We're going to come hang out with you. We're going to have you come up and hang out with us too one of these days. How about that? We'll trade.
Ryan.
So I'm Ryan. I'm one of the co-founders of Everything Vaguely Paranormal and also a lead investigator. Founded it with these 2 lovely people to the right of me, I think, on the screen. I hope it's the right of me. If not, and then we added Brittany in, and Brittany's our producer. I am the balance to these 2 crazy people to the next of me. They are insane, and I kind of keep them in check.
You're the one with no fun.
Yeah,
He's the one with absolutely no fun, right?
No, I'm fun, but I have to it's like wrangling cats sometimes. You got to get these 2 to do some stuff.
A Gemini? I can't see why you need to ring in a Gemini.
Or a Leo.
Or a Leo.
Really? Come on.
Well, Ryan, before Brittany came in, Ryan was having to try to keep tabs on both of us in the dark. Now he has help.
So, Brittany, are you back with us? Can we hear you?
No.
Still can't.
Oh my God.
She said she's gonna jump out, jump back in.
Jump back in. We'll keep going.
We've learned
she's
the
trapped
sign
in
language by this point. Yeah, she's like,
I know.
That is Brittany. She is our mime of the group. She's fantastic at what she does. We keep her around for entertainment.
She's telepathically communicating with us. I don't have to remember, guys. She does this telepathically. We heard every word she said. You guys will catch on in a minute. Don't worry.
I heard it.
Yes.
SOS sound from Brittany.
Let's try again, Brittany.
Nope. Oh no, still nothing.
Poor Brittany.
Oh.
Just go like this. Just go like this.
No.
No. Are you sure you? I don't know why.
Do we?
Brittany, tell us about you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brittany. I am producer for Everything Vaguely Paranormal. I was brought on to the team about 7 months ago, and it has been a wild ride with these 3. Always keeping me on my toes, but they're family.
Good. Welcome.
Yes, welcome, guys. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having us.
Family, but family nonetheless.
Dysfunctional. Damn sure.
So, let's see. Who wants to tell us about like one place in particular that you love the most, like you got the most out of?
Ooh, how much time do you have?
It's all going to be the same answer for us.
Yeah,
I think
so.
Well, if she's wanting to know the one that we got the most out of, I mean, that's multiple locations. Honestly, we've gotten so much out of a lot over our, adventures in the field, I guess you could say.
You got time, baby.
I would say for I think it's collectively for the group. We've talked about this quite a few times. Collectively for the group, our favorite location in Texas to investigate is Olde Park Hotel.
Olde Park Hotel.
We love Olde Park Hotel. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Every single time we go, it is consistent. It constantly delivers. It gives us great evidence. We have caught everything from things moving to full-bodied apparitions to people being scratched. We hold the record for the most scratches in an investigation. Not sure if that's good or bad, but we'll take it.
I want the trophy. Yeah,
award is an award, right?
Yes,
right.
exactly.
We had a plaque hang somewhere.
Yeah, we've gotten so much from that location, and Dan and Connie from Olde Park are fantastic hosts.
Yes.
So they're amazing. Love them.
They make so the venue all the way around from being there to investigating to the host to where you get to sleep. You have a shower, a toilet, lights, AC, heat, everything a paranormal investigator dreams of.
A bed.
A bed.
Yeah. Clean bed. A clean bed.
Yeah.
A clean bed. Ooh. A plus there.
I mean, because we've been some places you don't want your dog to sleep in, and I mean, Olde Park is not one of those. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
We have slept there, so that I would say is our favorite. One that we've gotten the most at, man, that might be a toss up, honestly. The Olde Park has delivered consistently for us and given us a lot of good evidence throughout the times that we've been there, but we've got a couple of other ones that have given us some really good, consistent evidence as well. One that comes to mind that we have kind of stumbled upon was the Gray County Historical Museum.
Yes.
It's not known at all. We have the exclusive access to it to be able to investigate it. And oh my gosh, we've had, again, scratches. We've had people pulled downstairs and flipped over backwards in chairs at that one. Me and Shelly have both been grabbed in the middle of a dual Estes method. Same time, same spot. That
not
was
in a good way.
crazy.
Yeah.
In full view of everyone in the room too. So.
Yep. And and that's how brazen they are too there, because everything is in full view of cameras, of people, of groups, and all that stuff. So
we had the door close on us too the first time we were there. That just set everything off. A door was physically manipulated by something we couldn't see, closed on us, and we tried to debunk it, could not debunk it whatsoever. I mean, we tried for a good 45 minutes, y'all, to try to figure that out. Just absolutely insane.
Well, and I'll tell you, since Blake's kind of touched on our two of the locations that we really do get fantastic evidence in Texas. I'll tell you one that and that's Waverly Hills. I went to Waverly Hills and had some of the craziest experiences ever, up to and including we were looking down a hallway, and it was Ryan and I, and the hallway was flooded with moonlight, and I was just like, hey, if anybody would like to have a visitor, if you'll step into the hallway, I'll come to your room. And I had this little container of cookies, and I shook them, and I said, I'll bring you a cookie. And all of a sudden in the hallway, it starts to do this. Things just stepping out into the hallway. And I said, well, if you'll come on and come forward, I'll come on, you're welcome to come forward. And something looked like it was walking down towards me. It stopped. And of course, I'm a big idiot. I just go, hello. And the thing, I kid you not, waves back at me. There were 7 or 8 people there. The guy who was in charge at the time was standing there, and everybody's going, did you see that? And I'm looking at Ryan going, what did you see? He's like, what did you see? I go, oh, you go first. And finally, the guy who was kind of running the investigation, he says, that thing just waved at you. I said, I know, right? He just waved at us. So I'll tell you, that's probably my favorite so far out of state location that I've been to that I think just is fantastic. And nothing really mean, nasty, negative there. So go ahead.
And I'll add on to what Shelly just said, because that's probably my favorite as well. And with that experience that she just talked about, I will say that whatever walked down that hallway towards us was so solid that if you've ever been to Waverly Hills, you know it's really long hallways. And they have the atrium where they used to roll the patients out onto so they could get the fresh air so they could help cure their tuberculosis. And so there's many doorways going all the way down that hallway. And the moonlight was coming through every single doorway. And this shadow figure was walking down the hallway towards us, and it was so solid that it broke the moonlight every time it passed one of those doors. So that blew all of our minds. And like Shelly said, there's like 5, 6, 7 of us looking down the hallway, all seeing it at the same time, all looking at each other back and forth. Like, you see this, right? This ain't just me.
An amazing, amazing collective experience. And nobody wanted to say what they saw. Cause we're like, I don't want to suggest that to you. You tell me first, you know? And finally the guy running and goes, I'll tell you what I saw. That thing waved back at you. And I went, I know, right? Oh my God, that's so cool. So yeah.
And then we went down to the 3rd floor that night. And on the 3rd floor, there's a story about a guy who was a homeless man that lived in Waverly Hills back in the 80s, after it was an old folks home and shut down. And so it was just kind of sitting there abandoned. And he lived up there, and people in the area kind of knew who he was because he kind of watched over the place whenever the people weren't able to take care of it. And he had a dog with him named Sadie. And then he ended up somehow falling down an elevator shaft and dying or something like that. And we're on the 3rd floor. And one of the stories is you start hearing like the jingling of a dog collar because, Sadie was one of the dogs. And so we start hearing that, and we're kind of walking around, and we come around the corner, and one of the guys who was the caretaker there was like with us walking around, and we start like calling out to that guy to see if we can get him to manifest. His name is Willie. And underneath the exit sign, now, if you've ever seen an exit sign, all you can see is black and white and red, from the glow of the exit sign. Underneath that exit sign, a green mist starts forming. And he used to wear a green army jacket, is what they told us. And it was like that army, like olive, or like that military green mist. And he starts, and like as tall as the exit sign, and just starts forming the outline of a person standing underneath that exit sign. And we were just in awe, just absolutely gobsmacked, looking at each other like, you see this, this is, and you're not even supposed to see that color underneath that light, and it's absolutely amazing. It is such a insane place to go. It is such a crazy place to go. If you don't have an experience there, I don't know if you're ever going to have an experience. Every time you turn around, there's something. I
ruined our Willie experience because everybody's standing looking at him, and I'm going, "Is that a real person?" And they're like, "No, I don't think so." And I said, "Well, I'm going to go find out." And I said, so I start walking towards him. I go, "Hello, Willie." He's gone.
You scared him off.
I did.
Shelly's got a knack and able to do that, because when we were debunking the door closing at Gregg County Historical Museum, her and I were on the opposite, because when it shut, I mean, me and Shelly, we busted through that. Like, we were like, oh, no, we're going to check for air drafts and fans. And so we started debunking. There's 45-minute video of us trying to debunk it. And I'm sitting there and I'm filming it. And we're on the other side of it. And we put the door back and we're trying to see if it'll move, if it's uneven or whatnot. And we wait. I think maybe about 5 or 6 minutes passed. We were like, close the door again. If you can do it, close the door again. Damn thing starts to go move, and it moves maybe about a half an inch, and Shelly goes, "Oh my God, you're doing it!" And then it stops. And I was like,
"Shut up!"
I was like, "Shout!" And then it holds switch, and she was like, "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to scare you off. Please come back. Please keep doing it. Come on, please."
Has there ever been a time where you guys were really scared, like in an investigation, where you were genuinely like, holy crap, oh my God, like I got chills.
Yes.
I feel like something's going to attack me or hurt or whatever.
Like you and I know exactly the location when we were legitimately scared.
Yeah, that was probably the scariest night of investigating I think I've ever had. And it would be at a location that you wouldn't think. We ended up doing a podcast episode over it for the Hill House Manor in Gainesville. And that was my first night ever being there. I think, Shelly, that was probably a few times investigating it there for you.
Third or fourth time for me, yeah.
And we ended up going with another group. Well, we do the Estes method on our investigations. And so they had never seen it. So we were showing them how we do it and how we run it, all that stuff. And then this guy, biggest guy there, says, let me try. Let me do it. And we said, okay. So we ended up putting him in. And Shelly was leading. And we got things going. And he gave us 2 answers. And after 33 seconds, he said nothing else. And his head kind of went down like this. And he was silent for quite some time. But it was only maybe like a minute or two, but it felt like eternity. And Shelly goes over to like pull him out of this experiment, and he just kind of goes like just weeble wobbles. And of course I see it, and Shelly's like, pull him now, get him out of here, get it, So we start pulling him out of the experiment, we get everything off him, and he has like, he's just glazed at this point. It takes me and Shelly plus 2 other guys to get him up out of the chair.
He's wrapping his legs around it to stay in the chair. He doesn't want to leave.
And we walk him through that room and into the living room, going out the front door. And he puts one hand on one side of the door frame, one hand on the other, and he starts to push back like this.
He's fighting us.
And we are all pushing on his back, and we cannot get him to go through. We finally get his hand off on the right-hand side, sling him through sideways. As he's going through the door frame, he reaches across the foyer, grabs onto the other door frame, and he is holding that thing so tight, about a 1/4 of an inch trim. That's the doorstop. He's holding it so tight, his fingers actually go up underneath it, and he pulls it sideways with the nails and pulls it back and pulls it off the door frame. So we're trying to shove him out the front door, like, get out of the location, get out. Something is seriously affecting him, and it is not good.
It's taken, what, 8 people at this point?
Well, at this point, yeah, we had 4 people on him, and at this point we had 4 other people on him, pulling him from the outside. We're pushing from the inside. He is not going. Finally, what happens is the 2 that were inside with us go underneath him and get in front of him to start pulling, and he starts trying to close the door with me and Shelly inside. And me and Shelly realized in that moment that out of everybody that was there, we were the only 2 that did not have a familial tie to him. Had he gotten that door closed, we would have been the only 2 left inside with him. And with his strength, I have no idea what he would have been capable of.
Crazy, nutty strength, scary strength.
We finally got him over the threshold, and he collapsed on the front porch.
Wow.
And, like, came to like 10 seconds later and was like, why am I on the porch?
He's like, how did I get on the porch? Why am I on the ground?
Like, he had no recollection of it whatsoever. And me and Shelly the whole time, we're like, this is our first time with these people. We don't know how to fix this person. We don't know what to do. But we get him up, get him off the property. And me and Shelly are like running for her car, like for like, I don't know, sage crystals. Like, you know, what can we do? You know, what can we do?
I'm gonna get it all.
Yeah, she's like, get all of it.
And I got over there and I start to sage him, and he starts getting so angry at me, and he goes, I'm gonna hit you. And I go, no, the fuck you want. Excuse my language. No, the F you want. And I keep saging him. I put sage around him and burn a whole stick of sage on him. And finally, it took over an hour for us to get him back where he even remotely felt like himself. And we told him, we're like, I really don't think you should go back in there. He waited another 30 minutes. He went in, he laid down the couch. He was asleep the rest of the night, did not move.
Didn't do anything.
We think he got jumped.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I was scared because I didn't know if I could fix him. And, you know, that was very scary. I had an interaction with that group one time prior, and but I had never had to fix anybody. That was, you know, I didn't know if I could. I was very seriously doubting I could, but we kept hell, Satan be gone. Satan be gone.
We were trying everything, just trying everything.
Right.
I would say though that a real short story that the probably most scared that I have ever been. We went to Yorktown recently, and I decided to do an Estes method, but I did it inside the coffin that they have there. And so I sat down in there and did the whole Estes. Now I'll tell you something: when you're sitting in a coffin, you're blindfolded, you got noise canceling headphones on, and you're running an Estes method, and you feel something like move across your leg in an abandoned building.
In a closed coffin.
In a closed coffin. I was like, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here. In my head, I was like, spirit, spider, snake, bug, I don't care, just get me out of this coffin.
Okay. Yeah. Now,
go ahead, Glenda.
My experience is that some groups actually protect themselves before they walk in, and some groups don't. And I have found that a lot of the times that kind of experience where there's a jump in is because they did nothing prior to going. I don't care if it's like, hey, protect me before I walk in.
Yeah.
just something, you know. And yeah, it's like,
I'm sorry. Hey, protect me, okay? You got me. I got you.
yeah. Well, you know, I don't
Like, you're
have to
good.
do that much anymore
It
because
sounds very mafia.
How you doing?
yeah,
You
Yeah.
well,
got
How you
me?
doing?
Okay. I love
I don't.
that.
You
I
protect
have.
me, I protect you. You know.
I have this thing that as long as I set the intention, I'm good. And I, you know, whether I say protect me or I'm going in here, you want me to go in there, you better have my back, that kind of thing. But it's something, even
Yeah.
carry something, a stone, a amulet, something. Um,
I have
and
mine. I wear
Well,
mine all the
yeah.
time.
yeah,
You know, and I agree with you completely because like people always ask me all the time, they're like, you know, you're not scared doing that sort of thing. Like, do you do anything to protect yourself? Do you do any sort of, you know, what do you do? And I always tell them, you know, you're setting the intention no matter what it is, like whatever
Yeah.
works for you, as far as like, if you're a Christian, if you're, you know, whatever, if you're a Wiccan, whatever you
Right.
are, like whatever works for you is what you need to do to protect yourself.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
as long as you're setting that intention, like, hey, nothing's going to bother me. I'm going to have a safe night. This is going to be good.
I think in that instance, me and Shelly were talking about that group was slightly green at the time. You know, I don't. I think
Yeah.
that might have been only their second and third,
Third,
maybe,
I think the
something
third
like that
Oh.
investigation.
Okay.
But this was
Yeah.
their second private investigation
Yeah.
they did. They'd only done 3 or 4 because one of the first
Okay.
times they came with me
Right.
in a bigger, larger group setting.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
I mean, like for us, like I know what I do personally is just like Ryan said, I set the intention. I've got my necklace that I wear that I bless, you know, do all of that stuff with, you know, and that's my protection without even having to say anything because my intention is in this.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I don't think that they knew in that moment, you know, that was something that they should have done, and we arrived after they arrived, so we had no idea if they did or didn't.
Right.
You
My
know,
protection is this.
If it works, it works,
like,
right?
Right.
Let's see what happens. I hope I'm gonna be fine. Be like, I'm good.
Says the one that always runs towards the basement as soon as we walk into
Right.
the place.
Oh my gosh, I do too. I do too. We have to go together, Shelly, one day. Me and you, it would be crazy.
Yeah, basement's
Well,
like Adam.
You
We
can
always-
literally on the spirit box get Satan is in the basement, and Shelly's like, "Oh, I want to go meet him. Let's go."
I'm like, hey, Satan, come to see you, buddy.
Me and
I know
Ryan,
it's
me
not Satan.
and Ryan joke all the time with people when they ask us about like Shelly and how she investigates all this stuff. We're like, we get to a location, we're talking with people, you know, and stuff like that, and we're like, in the basement. Oh, Shelly, did you hear that there? Shelly? Damn it, where the hell did she go?
And that's when Ryan will go, there's stairs over there, and they're like, never mind.
Go down to the basement, you'll always find Shelly.
Yeah.
So how did you guys start the group together? Like, I mean, y'all just met and decided to form it, or what happened? How did y'all start?
It's kind of funny to me because
It's my fault.
We blame Shelly for the crap show that we are. No, no,
You're
it's
welcome.
the 3 of us that founded it. It all converges on one like story,
Location.
like one location, one storyline type thing. So I know that Ryan and Shelly met prior to me meeting the 2 of them about a year prior to, but that was at Yorktown as well.
Ryan had come. I was leading a group with another group, and Ryan had come, and I met him.
Yeah.
And loved him, and I wanted to put him on the team, so we got him on the team. And then about 7-8 months later, Blake shows up to Yorktown to take part in an investigation that now Ryan and I are leading. And we loved Blake, and we were like, we got to get Blake on the team. Well, we get Blake on the team, and then we decided we're just going to do our own thing. And we're like, okay, we're going to do a podcast. We're going to do a team. I'm like, Blake, you got the technical know-how. I'm like, I've done it before. And I'm like, and we got to bring in one.
Well,
by the way, Ryan is the human Rolodex. He knows everything. Everything.
Well, thank you.
Well,
I
and
was actually going to brag on Blake a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
whenever me and Shelly were leading the investigation, Blake shows up, and like we had different stations where you kind of like Paranormal 101, where you're kind of like teaching people how to do stuff. And Blake shows up, and he's got a backpack full of stuff, and he starts pulling everything out and like knows about everything about this and that and the other. And I was like,
We're
This
like
dude's
easy
real
boy.
gung-ho.
Yeah, we're like easy boy. You got on it.
And, and he was real gung-ho about everything, and I was just like, and me and Shelly were both like impressed with his investigation style, and me and Shelly were like, we got to get this dude
We're like,
to come on,
We're
so
like, we'll get him.
and so we got him on, and like Shelly said, the rest is history. We were like, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and then we've been off to the races ever since.
A very sordid and dirty history.
Yeah, exactly. I think the funnier part is the conversation that took place that Shelly kind of touched on between me and Shelly about trying to form the name, the podcast, the group, and all this stuff. And I had kind of mentioned, I was like, oh, I think it'd be cool if it was like an acronym, like EVP. And we were like, oh, hey, I like that one. So we started thinking, we were like,
Blake and I are on the phone.
Something paranormal. Yeah, it's like midnight, by the way. We're like, everything something paranormal. And we were like, everything vividly, everything fairy, everything valiant. And Shelly's like, oh my God, let me pull out a thesaurus.
I got a dictionary. And I said, let's look for 7-letter words that start with V.
And literally the first word she reads is vaguely.
What?
And I was like, everything vaguely paranormal.
Well,
actually, the first word I read was vaginally. I'm like, we can't.
Everything vaginally paranormal. You know what? I would be down to check out that group.
Well, I already have that. You see,
you and me both.
Anyway.
That's right. That's the first word you read, and then of course you said vaguely, and we were both on the phone like back and forth for like 10 minutes, like vaguely. So
wasn't the toss-up was vaginally and vaguely?
No, I think
that was the top two choices.
Yeah, and then we're like, let's get Ryan on the phone. And
and then they texted me the name. They were like, "Here, what do you think about this?" And I was like, because
everything vaginally paranormal.
So they had typed it so fast that it was misspelled, and it said everything vaguely paranormal. I was like, what? So then we started talking about it, and like,
we got him on the phone.
It just fit, and it's perfect. We were like, EVP, we can make this work.
It's one of those things. We wanted vaguely in there because it was like, look, we're going to be doing the podcast with it, and we're going to try and cover everything that we possibly can: aliens, cryptids, UFOs, poltergeist, hauntings, demonic, true crime even. Yeah. And we were like, look, if it's even vaguely paranormal, we're going to talk about it. So that's how we became everything vaguely paranormal. And everybody has just loved the name ever since. Like, it's just been a lot of fun.
Most people can't spell it.
Well, I ordered a banner for Paracon one time, and when it came in, I showed it. I think it was just Shelly or Ryan, and they go, everything vagoogly, and I was like,
we're like, send it back. They can't spell either.
I was like freaking out, and I was like, oh, you're a few choice words.
Oh my God. So, speaking of podcasts, tell us a little bit about y'all's podcast.
Rated R 18 and up, we say a lot of really bad words.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's about the sum of it.
And we have more fun than most people because we're constantly laughing, cutting jokes, but it's also very informational, and you get some really interesting stuff, and we really dig for something that nobody else knows.
Yeah, we always try and find that one fact.
We write a research paper for every podcast. We take turns, and it rotates between the three, me, Ryan, and Blake, as to who's leading. And literally, I think they're better than me. I write up until literally 5 minutes before the podcast starts. I found something else because I was just researching. I went to watch this one last thing. I'm like, hang on, I'm going to print this. I'll be on screen on time. Just be ready. Roll it. I'll be there before it goes live.
Well, we do. So it's a weekly podcast, and we're live on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. On Facebook and YouTube. And we, like I said earlier, we cover the whole gamut of everything. I mean, anything vaguely paranormal that you can think of that's in the paranormal world, we cover. We cover true crime as well. Those are pretty much all that we do. But that also includes like your conspiracy theories and all of that kind of stuff. So
and fraudsters and stuff like that.
We cover a whole wide array of stuff. We do special times of the year where we did, like for May, we did Ferocious Females in honor of Mother's Day, because who doesn't love that for a Mother's Day?
Right.
And then this month, July is moving into Alien Month, so we're getting ready for that as well. But yeah, so it started out the three of us. We went for about a year and about 3 months, and then we were like, yeah, we need some more hands to press some more buttons and do some more stuff. And I think it's time for us to grow. And
it's a good problem to have whenever
Yeah.
it's you're now getting so much input and inquiries and things like that you need someone to help you. And we were like, yeah, okay, we all have full-time jobs, we all do things outside of the podcast and outside, and I don't day off. What is that? Full-time job during the week, ghost hunting on the weekends, doing the podcast on Tuesday nights, doing research for the podcast any night that you're not on the podcast or ghost hunting. So it's a lot of work, but it sure is a lot of fun. We have fun.
I'm gonna say about 7 months ago, Brittany came on an investigation and showed some interest in what we were doing and was willing to learn, did a really daggum good job the first time around, and just basically kind of mentioned it. She walked into our path at the right time, because we were just like, we need some help. And she's like, if you ever need any help, and so we were like,
you don't say.
we got together real quick, and I was like, hey, about Brittany that came to the investigation, what do y'all think? Should we add her? Yeah, let's add her. And thus Brittany was joined.
Blake already knew me. Blake had actually sold me this house that I live in, which it came with a haunted garage, which is always fun.
Keeps it exciting.
Yeah, so and I've been coming to investigations with the team for about 6-7 months before I even joined.
Yeah,
like
close to
like that.
Close to something like that. Yeah.
So
yeah,
and it just kind of worked out. It just I filled a niche that was needed at the time, and we've only gotten bigger since, which is great.
Yeah.
And you all complement each other really well. And I really enjoy the podcast. I do drop by once in a while to say hi and watch you guys. It's a great podcast. I'm sorry.
And we appreciate it.
Well, adding Brittany to the mix and to the team was like, it gave Ryan a little bit of a break of relief, if you will, I guess. I don't know. Because now when Shelly's running down to the basement with not tell anybody, he can go chase her. And then when I'm running down the hallway, Brittany can come chase me. And Ryan doesn't have to split in two.
Where are you going?
You got the best. You got the best of both worlds. You got the responsible earth signs, Brittany. And then you got the crazy fire and air sign. So yeah.
Air feeds fire. That's right. 2 cats.
Yeah.
You each get like a keeper. You each get a keeper.
No, that's exactly it. And that's what we always said, that Ryan was the center point of mine and Shelly's teeter-totter.
Yeah. He was the fulcrum right there in the middle that kept us balanced.
So we about had wore him out, and we were about to break, and Brittany came on and just, reinforced that a little bit more.
Stood on the other side of it.
Yeah. So we have our 2 calms, and then we have our 2 chaotics.
And now you guys also have done documentaries. You want to tell us about them? One of them being Olde Park, which we love, and the other one, New York. What was it? Yorktown.
Yeah. Sure have. No.
So Blake, so you want to start on how we got in contact and all that?
Oh, thanks for electing me as a spokesperson for EVP.
Yeah, we'll let you
just kidding. You need a break. No, we got teamed up with this documentarian from ScareNetwork.tv, and he was in the middle of doing the Yorktown documentary, and we just happened to cross paths at the right time, and told him that, like, hey, between our group, like, we've investigated that location probably close to, if not 30 plus times at this point. And I said, we've got evidence and we've got stories, and he was like, oh my God, I got to talk to y'all, and so we jumped on basically what we're doing here, a call with him on Zoom, and ended up having a really good conversation with him, sent him a lot of our evidence and everything that's featured in that documentary. It's a really well done documentary. It definitely tells the story of Yorktown. It shows some like in action shots of them investigating, because we weren't a part of the actual investigation.
That would have been Eric Connor and Sean Austin.
Yeah, they were in that. So we kind of threw in our evidence and stories on top of that. So it really gives you the history, the kind of lore, the legend of Yorktown, lets you understand what kind of location it is, and what is there and what we believe to be there. And then we also had Olde Park, which we just got through doing not too long ago. It released in March of this year on scarenetwork.tv. And that one, man, that one was
such a good documentary.
Phenomenal done.
And what's funny is that night that we were investigating with him for the documentary, that wasn't even the most active night. Because we did 2 nights. It was the second night. We kept saying, you should really stay for the second night. You never know what you're going to get. Yeah, we're going to have other people in here, but you should stay. And he was like, oh, I've got to get home. I think I've got everything I need. Oh, we told him. He was like, I should have stayed. We're like, damn right, you should have stayed.
Yeah. He knows now.
Because that second night that we were there was the night that we got the most scratches in an investigation in Olde Park. So you should have stayed.
He knows better now.
Yeah.
What's some of the best evidence you've gotten at Olde Park?
I'm gonna let Shelly tell her
story. Besides the scratches,
I'm gonna let Shelly tell her story of probably the most irrefutable piece of evidence I think I've ever laid my eyes on.
Absolutely.
So, probably my third time at Olde Park. We had a group, and a lot of the group had gone to bed. There were only like 6 people, and then me and another investigator. And a lot of the group had gone to bed. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go upstairs. Go upstairs and walk around by myself. And she goes, well, never go anywhere by yourself. I'm like, fine. So I go down this hallway, and I'm calling for Deacon. Deacon's the spirit there. Deacon likes me. He's probably the most well-known spirit there, and I like him right back. I like him.
So he likes blondes.
I know he does. He's opened the door on me while I was changing clothes before. That was a lot of fun. He naughty. But I was up in this hallway, and I'm just like, hey, Deacon, come on out. I'm like, Deacon, not going to leave till I get a picture of you. I'm like, come on out, Deacon, come on out. Now, the person who came upstairs with me, she is at the far end of the hall back behind me. I am facing down where the chair room is. She is all the way up by where the bathroom and the rooms that people stay in are. And I'm like, come on, Deacon. I took a series of 22 pictures. And on the 19th picture, I see something come up in my face and go away just that fast. I see this with my own eyes. And as soon as I see it, I'm kind of startled a little bit. And I hear her yell from the end hall, what the F was that? I go, I don't know. Let me keep taking pictures. I took, 3 or 4 more pictures. And then I decided I was going to review my evidence. So I start looking through it. And holy cow, in picture number 19, there is a full body apparition. And he's holding a pistol. But on the wall, there is a second apparition. And he's holding a rifle. And as I'm looking at it, I go, holy crap, I'm in the middle of a gunfight. And this, it's been featured on Fright Club with Ghost Brothers and Jack Osborne. I sent that to the producer, and he said, send me all the pictures. He went through every single picture, and he looked at it, and he says, I've had everybody look at it, so I cannot debunk this. And I'm like, that's because it really happened, y'all. Yeah, that's probably my favorite. I'm very fond of him. I call my picture the gunslinger. I love him very much. Probably my favorite picture I've ever captured ever. And I've gotten other full body apparitions. Something about getting old sexy Deacon on camera. Ooh,
and it really, like, if you look at it, and it's, you can go, I think it's both on our Instagram and our Facebook, that if you go kind of scroll through our photos and stuff, you'll find it.
It's on the Olde Park episode of the podcast.
Yep, that as well, which we've done multiple episodes over.
And in the documentary.
Yeah. So if it's if you're able to find it, you can see it. If you look at this photo and you still have questions if there's something on the other side after that, then I can't help you. I mean, it is that, like, prominent in this photo. It is an amazing capture. There's absolutely no doubt what you're looking at. But other than that, that's probably our strongest, most irrefutable piece of evidence from Olde Park. But we have gotten all kinds of things besides the scratches. We have had dual Estes methods there, where Shelly led, like, me and Ryan, that had gotten so dirty because we were talking to the brothel girls. Things that I'm not going to read on y'all's podcast, but that was a fun one.
I bet.
We were also talking to.
I believe I told someone to ingest an appendage.
That's a great.
You told me
PG way. Yeah, PG way to put it, Ryan. Good job.
Yeah.
He actually nosh on an appendage. Yeah.
Nosh on an appendage. Yeah.
I wasn't feeling peckish in the moment, but I will.
Well, it was one of those investigations that we were also talking through a spirit box. I think it's actually after one of those Estes methods. We had the spirit box running, and Shelly's like, she was still in her costume. She's like, I'm going to go change clothes real quick, because we dress up at Olde Park because we think it kind of gets them riled up, wear our old Western wear type stuff. And we really have had some of the best evidence in doing that. And I mean, so Shelly goes up to change, and the spirit box is just roll it. And then when she leaves the room, it goes completely quiet. And she had just said before she left, she's like, now, Deacon, you stay down here. You don't follow me. And so when it went quiet, she was already upstairs. I was like, what happened? Where'd you go? Deacon, where are you at? And he comes through and he goes, upstairs.
Stalker weirdo. Go
and I said, you leave her alone.
Get your little pervert. He wanted to sneak a peek at
He's dirty. Well, he did get a peek. He walked in the dadgum room.
I hope you don't do a tip at least, Shelly.
I know.
And that was funny because me and Blake were going downstairs, and whenever Shelly was in the room changing, I hear like the latch on the lock popped, and I think Shelly's about to stick her head out and say something to us before we're going down the stairs. So I turn around and start walking back towards the room, and she sticks her out. She goes, "Don't come in here, I'm naked." I said, well, what? She said something popped the lock up and opened the door on me. So don't come back here. I was like, oh, okay.
So if you've been there, you know Preston's parlor has that twin bed. So you have to close the door, you put down the little hook and eye latch, and I had walked around the bed to get to my clothes. Child, I'm stripping. I'm getting everything off. I'm like, ooh, got to get out of that cord. Ooh, I feel better now. I'm just trying to grab my clothes, and all of a sudden I hear click, and I hear, and I'm like, oh my God. And I couldn't get over the bed, so I start running around. I'm like, don't come in. I'm naked. He opened the door and came in. And then these guys were like, what? And then I felt the need to prove it. I'm like, see, I'm naked. I wouldn't just open the door. I really, yeah. That was fun.
But even like stuff we haven't, necessarily caught on camera, just some of the experiences that we've had there have just been insane. I remember the last time we were there, me and Blake were in Western wear walking around, and we were downstairs, and they just cleared out a room beside the seance room.
You scared the crap out of me on this.
And Blake is turned around talking to me, but he's still walking forward, and I just go, whoa, like to try to, and I reach out to try to stop him, because what he didn't see was somebody ran out of that room in front of him, and I thought he was going to run into somebody. And I grabbed him, and I thought maybe it was one of our guests, but there was no one else down there at that end of the hallway. And so then later on, Blake, you were leaning up against that door, and what happened to you?
I was leaning in the doorway, the exact same doorway he was talking about, and I have a live EVP session going, as we have a couple of people in the hallway. We're doing live EVP at that point. I'm using my headphones and just kind of listening. And nothing was happening in that moment. It was the weirdest thing. And one of the people that were there said, I'm not really impressed. Like, try and do something that's kind of impressive, and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I felt a hand on my back, and it just shoves me. I came flying out of that freaking doorway. And I don't think we had any cameras in the hallway, but it's on the audio. You hear me like, oh shit, and everybody's like, what happened? I'm like, I just got shoved out of this doorway. But that hallway is particularly interesting because
absolutely,
we had an entire group down there, which was about 16 people, I think, were down in that hallway in different rooms. Some out in the hallway, and they were watching, including one of the owners, they were watching this large shadow figure walk back and forth across the hallway. Collective experience that they were having. Well, at the same time, me and Brittany were a couple of feet behind them, kind of looking in other rooms, but we were also looking down their direction. Out of nowhere, me and Brittany saw the brightest flash of light. Twice, two of them. It was like, and I looked at her and I said, what was that? And she goes, I don't know. So we start looking around. Not only was there like no light bulbs in any of the light sockets down there, but nobody had their cameras out. Everybody was just sitting and experiencing this moment that they were having of watching that thing. And then we see this self-illuminating light take place that happens. It's the weirdest thing.
And Blake and I both looked directly at each other because we both thought the other person had created it. It was right between us. And that was just a really interesting one. We couldn't debunk it. We couldn't figure out where it came from.
And nobody else saw it either.
One other thing, it was just him and I that experienced that, which, I mean, we were kind of behind everybody else down at the end of the hall, but it was just unusual.
Yeah.
The only other thing that comes to mind, though, is the most insane Estes method I've ever seen. Blake is leading Shelly and our other part-time investigator, Rhonda, upstairs at the end of the hallway. And, we're getting some good stuff and things are going. And then Shelly gets this really nasty old man start coming through. And he's just angry with Blake. And she leans forward at one point, and Blake, just before this, had knelt down in front of Shelly to ask her a question. And she leans forward, almost hits him, emphatically telling him, no, you need to listen to me. And then from that point on, we were like, let's test this. Blake just stopped asking questions and was just moving to different positions in the hall. And Shelly kept pinpointing him. Remember, she's an Estes. She is blindfolded. I know her eyes are closed behind the blindfold because she doesn't want to mess up her makeup.
That's right. I wear a lot of mascara.
And she can't hear him. And a good 7 minutes on this Estes, she is just Blake will move to one side of the hallway and she'll pause in what she's saying, and then when she starts speaking and she flips back to him because he switched to the other side of the hallway. And then at one point he was like, oh, watch this. He does a side shuffle back and forth but stays in the same place, but he moves his weight and comes right back. And she just leans back and does this with her hands, which isn't normal for Shelly. And she goes, very funny.
It was the craziest.
It's the craziest Estes I've ever seen.
It really was because what she was saying as I was moving was I moved to my left, her right, and she goes, to my right, stop. And that's when she was like, whoever's over here, he does not like you. So Ryan, you hear him on the video go, Blake, move to the other side of the hallway. So I go to the other side of the hallway, and there's a beat, and Shelly goes, don't move. If you move, he saw you move. And so I'm like, what the hell? So I go back to the other side, and she's like, to my right again. And then that's when I do the thing where Brittany was like, I turned around to the group and I go, watch this. And I do this kind of fake out.
He does not move his feet. He keeps
I know.
He just shifts his weight from one side to the other.
Yeah, and that's when she says the very funny. But what she says after that is she goes, very funny. And of course, everybody reacts in the group. We're like, holy crap. And then she goes, and he said, don't play with me.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, okay. And then at the end of it, once that started getting towards the end, I stand up in front of Shelly. I turn around to the group and I kind of fold my arms like this, and I put my finger up telling the group, don't say anything, because I'm still doing my movements and not asking questions. The moment I get my back to Shelly, she goes, I just heard kick him. And I was within reach of her foot. Had she just kicked out her foot, she would have hit me. But our other investigator, she goes, I just heard kick him. And our other investigator goes, don't. It was two spirits being like, kick him. No, don't.
Right. Little fun fact. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that one's also if you want to watch that one, I think that one's back in our December episode of Olde Park, back when we had Dana Connie on. That one, God, it's just crazy.
I mean, that place just yields every single time you go there, no matter what. I mean, you're going to have some kind of experience anytime you walk in that building.
Yeah, a little fun fact. I don't even let people use my spirit box anymore. I've actually, because the kind of things that come through. Okay, so if there's somebody that is nice and wants to be protected, especially females and children, they go and they find Ryan. They want to talk to him. If it's somebody who needs help or who wants some kind of help to get out of the place, they come and find Blake. If they want to be a jerk, they come find me. And literally, the kind of things that come through the spirit box and get said to me, and whenever people use my equipment, they will go, dang, you're not kidding. You get a lot of negative stuff on yours. I'm like, yeah. So I actually have, instead of letting people use my actual one, that one now stays in my pocket. I bought a replacement. I'm like, oh, yeah. It's like, Shelly, want to use your equipment? Let me tell you what happened the last time I let somebody use my equipment, which was the catalyst for me to no longer allow anybody to use the spirit box I use. At Olde Park, had two people in a row. Shelly, want to use yours? I always say, are you sure? First one got scratched. The next one, she got up to do it. She is not even in for, what was it? Not even 2 minutes?
A minute and 45 seconds.
No, not even that. She's just over a minute, because the video is a minute and a half long, and it took about 10-15 seconds of
and she goes, I want you to lead it, which I'm always like, are you sure? You want me to lead and use my equipment? You know what I get? And she goes, yeah. and literally opened up the circle. All of a sudden you see her jump. She's doing this and we pull her. But the funny part is that we never heard it in the moment. We go back and listen to this audio. We hear and it's loud. We did not hear it in the moment. And we pull everything off of her. And this is a girl who's not afraid of anything. She's already been scratched once in that building, and in a full view in front of guests, we pull everything off. We close the circle. We go to move her hair, and she literally has a handprint on the back of her neck, like somebody just slapped her.
You can see the space between the fingers where it went across the back of her neck.
Handprint. And I'm like, see, nobody gets to use my stuff no more.
Well, I had an interesting advantage of that because, like, Shelly was kind of in front of her leading this Estes method. I was back behind her to her right, and we also talked to a gentleman who was directly behind her. And Ryan, I think you were off to her left.
I was filming. Yeah.
No, you were filming. Never mind. You were filming in the doorway.
I was to her left, I think.
What I saw with my eyes as I'm just back there watching, like, I see her start to like react, but what I thought she was reacting to was her headphones sliding up because I saw them leaving her head.
Oh.
And so I think it was trying to pull them off. Now, I told Shelly and Ryan, I said, now, granted, as an investigator, do my due diligence, I didn't see the other side of her head. So I don't know if her left hand got there quick enough and just threw it up. But when we talked to the guy that was behind her, he goes, no, her hands were nowhere near her headphones, and her headphones were coming up off her head. So she not only got slapped, but they were trying to pull the headphones off of her head.
Wow.
It's the wildest thing that I've seen. And then we heard the slap in the video, and we were like, holy
how did we not get that in the moment?
Yeah, we didn't hear it in the room. None of us heard it in the room, but you hear it on video.
Yep. Yeah. Crazy.
There's no doubt it's haunted because I've had my own experiences there, some crazy ones there the few times I went. And even when we were all there together, I can't remember which one of you, but one of y'all got scratched too. Y'all came downstairs. I can't remember which one it was. I'm sorry. And y'all showed me that. Was it you, Brittany that got scratched?
Brittany got scratched on her ankle.
It's always me.
It always needs to be Brittany. It really does.
Oh, you're a ghost date, Brittany.
They do.
I'm like, that's why
they like to scratch me there.
I'm just like, I'm glad that she came into the group because it took the heat off of me. Out of the three of us on the bottom, I was always being the one that got physically touched and scratched.
Well,
and
again, I'm glad that you came in because that took the heat off me. Now they just scream at me and call me bad names. So.
It's an initiation process. That's all it is.
Yeah, and I've only ever been scratched one time, and it was actually at Olde Park where I got scratched. So I mean, yeah.
I have been scratched. I have had my neck grabbed twice. Once in the confessional at Yorktown, once in the Psychomanium at Olde Park. I have had I've been bit. I have been physically bit with a bite mark on my leg.
At Yorktown.
At Yorktown. Mm-hmm. I've been scratched. I can't tell you how many times. Yeah. Yet I keep going.
You like it.
And in my head, I'm like looking at my necklace, like, why aren't you working?
We are gluttons for punishment.
That's it.
I've also been jumped too. So
you have been jumped.
That was not fun. Twice, actually.
We call it, whenever something kind of takes over, we call it getting jumped because we think possession should take a little longer and last a little longer. So it's not getting possessed, it's getting jumped because it's temporary, right. So yeah, he's been jumped one time.
Twice now, actually.
And I could tell you, as I've done exorcisms, it takes a lot longer to get possessed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good.
So that is what I call it too. Just
perfect.
Jump.
Getting jumped. Yep.
Yeah, getting jumped. It's just a temporary thing where they want to try coming into you, and your real self is saying, "Oh no, get out! I'm not ready to give this up yet."
See, if they were ever jumping me, they'd be like, "Oh hell no, we don't want to be in her head." Everybody out.
Listen, I have to tell the story because anybody we talk to, I have to tell the story. It's actually freaking funny, and it goes in with the scariest night that we were talking about earlier with the guy getting jumped at Hill House Manor. And after we got him all settled down, and cleansed and saged and all that kind of stuff, Shelly turns to me and she goes, "You ready to go back in and talk to these choice words?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." I wish I had been filming because I don't understand. It's the funniest yet most interesting thing to watch because you have this Shelly, what, 5'2"?
Yeah, almost 5'2", almost.
Tiny little woman, itty bitty little woman walking in there, and she's, you listen here, you mother, you want to pretend like you're the Prince of Darkness? I'll show you the Prince of Darkness. And I was like,
like going, oh,
me and Glenda like to say we like to say tiny but mighty because we're also short. We're also tiny but mighty.
It's the most like, I don't know, admiring thing to watch, like, and but it's also funny because out of the whole group, Shelly is the smallest and the most petite, and to see her like go after, because we have a rule: we will never, ever walk in there and just straight out provoke. Right? Never will do it. You be respectful of the spirits. You be respectful of the location. Exactly. You try and talk to them like you would a human, you know, or like a regular human, because that's what they are. regular human, a live human, whatever you want to call them. Us, you just have a normal conversation because that's what they had a body one time. They just don't anymore. But we will not back down. If you want to come at us first, then we are going to stand our ground.
I'm going to fight back. Yeah. You're not gonna
like a tiny vicious chihuahua.
Well, I always tell her she's the meanest.
Baby, every bit.
Say, well, Shelly's the meanest out of any of us. So Shelly's the meanest out of any of us because she is the most tiniest. I say she's closest to hell, so that's why she's so mean.
The way I like to see is like we like to compensate for our height, like men do with big trucks. Okay, like, let us.
Oh, but if y'all ever can get on that investigation where Shelly has to go in there and like stand up either for the group or somebody or herself or something, it's the best thing ever.
We actually it is caught in Scare Network TV part of it.
The old part. Well, because we were standing in the kitchen because Shelly got scratched during that was one of the scratches we see that weekend.
Never off camera.
Was actually during the documentary filming, and she was never off camera. She always had her hands full, she had her hands full in the moment. She still got scratched across her neck like this. And pissed her off. We'll just put it that way. And the documentarian's standing there, and he's still got the camera on me because I'm like taking pictures of her neck. Well, Shelly just takes off through the kitchen, and I'm like holding my phone, like trying to save the photos. And I was like, you might want to go follow her.
In the documentary, you hear me go, well, here she goes.
Yeah. And so we all take off after her, and he catches just the faintness of it. And he tries to put the subtitles down below. I don't think he captured all of it, but
he kept having to put in star.
Yeah.
And then whenever he catches me going out, and I'm like, no, we ain't upset. We're good. I'm like, I'll be back. We're good. And you hear Ryan telling him, oh, all that's going to do is just piss her off. She'll go right back at him.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I always fight back, but that's the only thing that really makes me mad. I signed up for this. So if you come after me, that's one thing. If we have groups of people there that might be doing it the first time or just trying it out for fun, or maybe they're investigators, but they aren't really expecting anything nasty, and it becomes a safety issue, that is the one where you are going to make me angry enough to call it every name in the book and go after it. And I have no problem. I will sage it out of there. But like, play with me. I'll send you away. And you don't know a way till I've sent you away.
Now, do you guys have any upcoming events? Or where can we catch you guys? Let us know.
Blake, tell them everything they need to know.
It's kind of the go-to. I'm the go-to guy on the podcast. So as for catching us, like we said, we are live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. We are Everything Vaguely Paranormal across the board. So you can check that out. We've also got a Linktree link that you can click on our profiles. It's going to take you to everything that we possibly have going on. We are getting ready to go speak at Metacon in Kansas City, Missouri. So we will be there doing our essentially the best of evidence captures, if you will. So we'll be doing that. We also do public investigations where we do allow the public to come in and investigate with us. That is on our Eventbrite page. All of that stuff is on our Linktree, so just go check that out. We've also got audio versions of the podcast if you like to listen to the audio versions. But I will tell you, if you watch the video, it's a little bit funnier because you get the facial expressions. Ryan and Shelly get into it, and I'm over there eating the popcorn and
I tell you, people tune in to see us argue with each other. They really do.
They do. And basically what you saw tonight is what you're going to get with us, but we also do deliver essentially a storyline and a story of whatever topic we'll be covering. So all of our upcoming lives that we have coming for the month of July are already on our YouTube. So go check it out and click that notify me button if you